Is Virgil Ortiz afraid of boots? Guys, I'm over this fight. I'm just gonna come out and say it point blank. Lalo THR, thank you very much for joining me. It is January 12th, a Monday. Taking my 34-hour reset. I gotta say, man, I'm over this fight. I don't even care anymore about Ortiz and boots. I'd love to see it, but it's very, very obvious that we're not gonna get this fucking fight. We're probably not gonna get it this year, maybe next year, but it's not gonna happen this year. It doesn't seem like it. You know, Oscar De La Hoya over the weekend, I think Saturday night, possibly yes, last night actually, but I think it was Saturday. He did one of his, not a clapback Thursday, but he did one of his stupid ass videos where he, you know, I think his weird looking wife or husband, I don't know, but that thing he's with, I'm pretty sure records these videos, but he was on camera shooting some pool, thinking he's cool, saying that, you know, Eddie, I'm willing to make the fight happen, Eddie. I'm gonna give you till Monday to accept 60-40. You're begging for this fight. I'll give you 60-40. That's probably a terrible Oscar De La Hoya impersonation. But he basically said, if you want this fight, accept our terms. 60-40. Of course, 60 going to Ortiz, 40 going to Boots, with the winner getting 5%. So it's actually 60-35 should Boots lose the fight. I'm not an expert in how these purses, these contracts are set up, these you know, business negotiations, the business side of boxing. I know nothing about, but I can tell you, just looking at that at face value, that is not a good deal at all. In fact, you'd probably be disrespecting your fighter if you accepted such a deal. But be that as it may, I will say this, you know, for all the fans that are talking shit saying that Virgil's afraid of boots, because Virgil's not afraid of boots. Let's go ahead and answer that question. You know, the 3 listeners that I have, perhaps you guys could click off now. I already answered the question in the thumbnail. No, Virgil's not afraid of boots. He's not. Virgil's not afraid of nobody. He does not strike me as the type of dude that's afraid of anybody. I think if the money is right, I think Virgil would go up and fight better Biev, dog, or Bivol. But Virgil's not afraid of anybody. But promoters are gonna promote. They're gonna scheme. They're gonna money grub. You know, especially in this current economy, the way things are right now. Nobody's talking about it, but they just keep saying, oh, we have an inflation going on. Like, bro, we're in a full-blown recession. I don't give a fuck. We're in a full-blown recession. This ain't just an inflation. We're in a recession. There's nobody hiring. Jobs aren't hiring. I'm very lucky and blessed that I have a good career as a truck driver, and, you know, it's an incredible career to fall back on. You know, but I'm not falling back on it. I'm doing it full time. But like anybody out there listening, like, if you have a job, keep it. Don't try to do nothing crazy, because we're living through a recession right now. Okay, basically. So prices on everything are up with inflation and all that. And these promoters, they're gonna be just like these tech giants that are now pricing out their hardware. You know what I mean? They're going to price out these fights because they're going to try to get their grubby little hands on the most money they could possibly make. Virgil ain't afraid of nobody. I promise you. I don't know the guy personally, but I know Mexicans, and I know Mexican Americans, and I know that vato is not the type to be afraid of anybody. He does not strike me as that type of dude. He's just not built that way. That's not in his vocabulary. I will say, when he called out Spence that one time, that was a bad look, but I'm pretty sure Golden Boy is setting that up as the play for him from the jump. Long before he even defeated Erickson Lubin, they were already probably serving that up for him and talking to him about it. Like, yeah, you know, after you beat Lubin, you know, let's start aiming for a big fight with Errol Spence. And of course, he's going to go along with it. Bro, that's a huge money fight. And yes, I agree that Errol Spence has no business even continuing to fight, let alone against a monster like Virgil. And the fact that Virgil will most likely fight him, it's a disgusting move, but it's a move that makes sense. Unfortunately, because money talks. We're talking about Cowboy Stadium, bro. A big fight in front of potentially 100,000 people. They're not gonna sell out Cowboy Stadium. They think they are. They're not. But it's gonna be a hell of a lot of people there and a hell of a lot of dollars flowing. So of course he's gonna go along with it. If I'm a fighter and my promoter tells me, hey, after this fight, man, we're gonna go to Cowboy Stadium, I don't give a fuck who they put in front of me. Just to fight in a stadium, bro, that like elevates your whole image. It elevates your career. It elevates your prestige. Like, yeah, that's a stadium fighter right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care who they put in front of me at that point. But let alone a legend like Errol Spence, a well-respected fighter who got love from boxing fans across communities. You know what I mean? Errol Spence was a big fan favorite. And unfortunately, he was never to be the same again after that horrific car wreck, which really should have killed him. Honestly, I've watched that car wreck, you know, a few times now, back when it was up on the internet. I don't know if it still is. I'm sure it is. And that's a car wreck that should have killed him. Okay, the fact that he's even alive is kind of a miracle. I don't know what kind of engineers, what kind of safety features they put in that fucking car, or if it was divine intervention, or both. Because he really should have died from that car wreck. And I don't mean to sound morbid, but I'm keeping it a buck. Like, he should be dead right now. He shouldn't even be alive. Because 9 times out of 10, that car wreck kills everybody else. You know what I mean? Especially us broke people who can't afford Ferraris or Lamborghinis or whatever kind of fucking car that was that he crashed. But, you know, most people would be dead from a car wreck like that. So, I see the vision though. Okay? And you could knock me for that. You can talk shit to me. You could say whatever you want. But I see the vision. If I'm Virgil Ortiz, you bet your ass I'm gonna go out on video and say, no, I want Errol Spence. That's my dream fight. Because, motherfucker, it's my dream to fight in a stadium. Fuck you. I'm fighting in a stadium. Not in some rinky-dink arena in Philadelphia or in Las Vegas. I'm fighting in a fucking stadium, dog. You bet your ass I'm gonna call out Errol Spence. If my promotional outfit tells me that there's a potential that we could headline a stadium show, fuck out of here, man. There's some legendary rock bands that don't even headline stadium shows, the concerts. You know, like, that's a big deal. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not trying to justify anything, but I'm just keeping it a buck. It is what it is. This is a business, and promoters are gonna do what promoters have done for centuries. Like I said in the last audio recording, this isn't a video game where we're just gonna pick our fighters and fight. These promoters, they're running a business. It's that simple. They're running a business and they're in it to make the most money they can make. It's not no bullshit. I don't think Virgil could beat Boots, so we're not gonna. Nah, it's not even about that. Y'all are thinking like kids. Is how you're thinking. You're thinking like kids. It's not about that. It's about, why am I gonna put my fighter against this dude in a small arena? Which he could potentially lose that fight too. Virgil could very well potentially lose that fight. Why am I gonna do that when I can put him in Cowboy Stadium, dog? In front of potentially 100,000 people. In a fight that he's very much so favored to win. And we're gonna make like 3 times the amount of money for that fight than for a potential fight with Boots. Like, it's not about this, I'm scared, he's scared, we're done. It's not about that shit. It's about, where can I make the most money? And I'm not defending these guys because I fucking hate it just as much as the rest of you. But that's boxing. It is what it is. You know, when I first saw that clip of De La Hoya, you know, thinking he's cool, you know, shooting pool. I'm not trying to rhyme. But when I saw that clip, I commented, I tweeted out, man, it's shit like this that makes me want Turki Al-Sheikh and Dana White to just take over the whole sport of boxing. It's shit like this that had me excited when Turki was, you know, coming through in boxing with all these crazy fights. And yeah, some of them took place in Saudi Arabia. I feel like they shouldn't have taken place in Saudi Arabia, but hey, he made the fights happen. Wherever they happen, they happen. He's making it happen. Boy, would I love Turki to just swoop on in here and grab De La Hoya by the hand, grab Eddie Hearn by the hand and say, you know what? I make deal. You two no make deal, I make deal. Follow me. This fight's going to happen. Saudi Arabia. Although this fight should very much so happen in the United States. At this point, I just want to see the fight. I don't care if it happens on fucking Mars, dog. Elon Musk Promotions. I just want to see this fight. But at this point, I'm kind of over it. You know, most likely, Virgil's going to fight Errol Spence, or he's going to fight Fundora, and Boots is going to fight some bum, some Portuguese bum we never heard of again. Another Portuguese bum we never heard of. That'll be a bad look on Boots if, you know, in the aftermath of these failed negotiations, he just fights some other bum, you know, that no one's ever heard of again. Meanwhile, Ortiz fights fucking Errol Spence. As bad of a look that is, it's still way better than fighting some bum no one's ever heard of. I mean, listen, I like Boots, man. I like Boots. I think he's a very likable fighter. He's an entertaining fighter, and I think he could potentially be the face of boxing. Truly. But he needs to step up his competition. See, that's the only ace that Golden Boy has up their sleeve when these talks is that Virgil, yes, you could say, oh, well, Boots has been a champion. Championships don't mean shit. It's about who you fight. Motherfucking Ryan Garcia just lost his last fight after coming off a year layoff for popping for PEDs, and he's getting a title shot. And you think titles mean anything in this day and age? Get the fuck out of here, dog. You're thinking of this like a video game. Oh, the championship belt. And the titles don't mean shit. This ain't a video game. This ain't Fight Night Champion. Title belts don't mean shit. Motherfucking Ryan Garcia lost his last fight and is getting a title shot against Mario Barrios, who he himself, I don't know how Mario Barrios is a champion, dog. I mean, listen, I like, again, I don't mean to be an asshole. I don't mean to be a dick. I like Mario Barrios. He seems like a nice dude. I love the fact that he represents la cultura, you know, that Native American blood in all of us Mexican Americans. But, like, how is that vato a champion? Like, that tells you all you need to know about the prestige of these title belts. That such a mediocre-ass boxer like Mario Barrios is a world champion. What kind of Bush League-ass sport is this when you have guys like Mario Barrios as champs? Motherfucking title belts don't mean shit, man. Miss me with all that bullshit. Virgil Ortiz has fought the way superior opposition to Boots. I don't give a fuck if Boots held a title belt. I don't care. It means nothing to me. The only belt that means anything to me is the belt that holds my fucking pants up and prevents my pants from falling down my ass. That's the only belt that I value these days. Because title belts in boxing don't mean shit. Virgil has fought the far superior opposition. The only good fighter Boots ever fought was Stanionis. However you say that dude's name. Stanionis. And that's being generous. That's being generous. Okay? Virgil probably eats Stanionis as an appetizer. Not for breakfast, as a fucking appetizer. That's being generous, dog. So that is a sleeve that Golden Boy have up their sleeve. And that is an ace that they have up their sleeve. But I'm not trying to defend them, though. It's still a bad look. Any way you slice it, I will concede it's a bad look. They're making Virgil look like a little bitch in the eyes of people on Twitter, on social media. And clearly, it does affect Virgil, too. That's the fucked up thing about this. Because Virgil has come out and said it before. Like, oh, this is why, I don't give a fuck about fans anymore. This is because of stuff like this. The way they talk on the internet. He said something along those lines. Again, another rough quote. But clearly, narratives and conjectures and shit talking on Twitter, it affects Virgil, man. That's the fucked up thing about it. Because I'd be willing to bet you any kind of money, if it was up to Virgil, he would fight Boots next week, dog. Next weekend. Fuck Cinco de Mayo. We'll do it on next Saturday. I mean, fucking Virgil didn't even break a sweat against Lubin. Knocked him out in the second round. I mean, it is what it is. So, there's a lot of stuff going on with the negotiations for this fight as well. Oscar De La Hoya is now getting into it with Virgil's manager, Rick Morrigan. Apparently, because see, Eddie Hearn did respond to De La Hoya saying, hey, we had a deal on the table that was accepted by both parties. Now he's coming out with this shit, so we're gonna have to obviously pull out and reassess and try to make this fight happen under some other terms, because this is not what we originally agreed to. And apparently Rick Morrigan is actually making moves behind De La Hoya's back. So this whole thing is like a novela. Let's just put it like that. All these negotiations right now is like a big novela. You got fucking infighting at Golden Boy. You got the Zone, the network that hosts these fights, putting pressure on De La Hoya. Now actually, I saw on Twitter today that De La Hoya, or the Zone rather, did not renew Golden Boy's contract, not formally at least, and that one of the terms or deals in order for them to reach an agreement on a new contract is for the Ortiz Boots fight to take place on the Zone. They really desperately need fights like that too, boy, because they got that stupid ass, ultimate fight pass or some bullshit for $500 a year. They're gonna have pay-per-views over the course of 12 months. That's gonna fail so badly, bro. That's a business model that is not gonna work. There ain't even any pay-per-view. There is not enough marquee pay-per-view fighters to put on 6 months worth of pay-per-views, let alone a whole year, 12 months of pay-per-view every month. Y'all lost your minds, man. That's not gonna work. But anyway, so now Oscar De La Hoya came out and in an additional little video clip saying that he made peace with Al Heyman, and now Golden Boy and PBC are gonna start doing business. What do you know? And it's all probably going to be on Amazon Prime Video. Which, again, I hate that it sounds like I'm siding with De La Hoya, because believe me, I'm not. But I have to say, bro, this is actually a genius play. Well, I'm not gonna say genius, but it's a proper move by De La Hoya anyway, because, bro, Amazon Prime Video reaches a far wider audience than DAZN does. Like, DAZN, nobody even knows what the fuck DAZN is except hardcore boxing fans. Most people are like, what the fuck is DAZN? Like, I know they have some European soccer on there and some fights, but like, why the fuck would I subscribe to DAZN for? They don't have nothing I want. Like, that's most casual viewers don't even know what DAZN is. Amazon Prime, that's a strong ass brand that has notoriety, that has recognition. People know it. I think I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure like Amazon Prime is up there with Netflix. I was gonna say it's probably number 2 to Netflix, but that's probably incorrect. I would think maybe HBO Max or whatever is probably number 2, Disney Plus. But Amazon Prime is up there. It's up there with the Netflixes, the Disneys, the HBOs, WB, wherever they're gonna wind up. They're being bought out now by Netflix or Paramount Plus, whatever. But it's a proper play by Golden Boy, if I'm being honest, because ain't nobody know DAZN anyway. I actually kind of feel like maybe De La Hoya was gonna leave DAZN anyway. This was probably the play all along, regardless. Like, they were probably gonna leave DAZN anyway, even if they offered Golden Boy another deal. So yeah, man, all the negotiations for this fight has become a novela. And again, it just makes me feel like I'm over this fight. Like, I'm over it. Just bring on Virgil versus Spence or Virgil Fundora and Boots could fight some other Portuguese cab driver no one's ever heard of, or whatever. I would like to see Boots fight Xander Zayas. I think that's a good fight. But Xander Zayas himself is a very overly protected fighter. I don't think Top Rank is gonna let him get in there with either Ortiz or Boots anytime soon either. So again, people, this is what promoters do. Oh my God, I guess Xander Zayas is afraid of Boots and Virgil, right? No, his promotional outfit are gonna protect him. They're gonna try to squeeze as much juice out of them as they can to fill their pockets. It's a business. That's what they do. That's what happens. Unfortunately, it's us fans who end up losing. These promoters and these managers and whatever, they make all the money, and us fans are the ones paying for it, and we lose in the end. A lot of the pay-per-views that we buy, they're not even worth it. They don't live up to it. It's a nuisance. It really is.